Today's video is really exciting because it's the first video that I am posting on this new channel called Limitless, and yeah, this is a really exciting channel, and Nia and we wanted to make our first video about our eating disorders because that's kind of how we became friends, which is kind of weird, but she made a video on her channel a while back about her eating disorder, and I was like, I have an eating disorder too, and then we kind of became friends. So we both decided that it was just like good to talk in detail about our eating disorders and how we overcame them. So that is what I'm going to be doing today. Well, the earliest that I remember not being happy with my body was going into grade 9, or it started in grade 9, and the most distinct memory I have is I was talking to my friend Rachel and I was like, I'm so fat and I think I'm just gonna stop eating. And she immediately texted me and was like, you're so beautiful, like no, no, no. And I mean, I acted like it cheered me up, but it really didn't. And yeah, that's the earliest that I remember not being happy with my body and saying that I wasn't going to eat. What else? Like most of you know, I tried to kill myself, and then I came back to Canada and I was living with my mom and everything was going pretty well. I wasn't on any medications or anything. I was happy, but not really, and I was still unhappy with my body even though I was quite small, and I just every day seemed like this really hard thing that I was being forced to eat, and I felt disgusting, and there was like a voice in my head that was saying like, okay, you need to get rid of the food, you need to get rid of the food. And then I was at my friend Tiana's, and I think we like pigged out on a whole bunch of food. And that was the first time I made myself throw up. It wasn't even at my own house. I went into her bathroom, and I think she was upstairs and the bathroom was downstairs, and no one else was home, and I made myself throw up. And that escalated for months. I would just make myself throw up, and I wasn't doing it a lot. It was just sometimes I'd be like, okay, I can't eat this. I need to make myself go puke. And then that summer, so the summer going into grade 10, and grade 10 is like when I actually started to realize like it was an eating disorder. My papa died in October, and during September my eating disorder was like progressing even more. I was making myself throw up more, and I was starving myself, and that's why I just say eating disorder, because I don't, like, I'm not just, I wasn't just bulimic or I wasn't just anorexic. It was like a mixture of both. So then when my papa died, it kind of almost gave me a reasoning, like I just wasn't hungry, and I was becoming really unhealthy, and my hair was falling out, and my period wasn't around for about a year, but now it's back because I'm healthy. And I think I was at like 90 pounds, and anytime I would get to like 95, I would immediately fast for like 3 or more days, and I would puke every single thing I ate, and it was terrible. And I just remember feeling disgusting and helpless, and food became this enemy, and I was totally in it. And I denied myself that I had an eating disorder. I told myself this was normal, that I needed to do this. And this eating disorder totally took control of my life. I isolated myself from anybody, and I hated eating with my family. I would come home and just not want to do anything. And YouTube became this like job that I had to do because I had to pretend to be happy, and nobody really knew that I had an eating disorder until I think I told my friend Rachel, and we went to the school counselor together, and I immediately told the school counselor like everything, and I actually became really good friends with her, and I went to see her like a lot in the week, and I would just talk to her about my life and what I was feeling because I wasn't ready to get help, but I felt comfortable talking to her about my eating disorder. And it was like this cycle, like I was like so motivated to get healthy, and then I would just dropped back down into the pit of despair, and I was 89 pounds for months, and my period had stopped, and like clumps of hair would fall out, and I was so weak, and I was so sad, and I felt like I'd rather die than be fat or unhealthy. And no matter how much like weight I lost, it wasn't enough, and I was really into like pro-Anna sites on Instagram, not so much Tumblr. It was mostly Instagram, and I had one myself. It wasn't like a pro-Anna or like pro-eating disorder, it was just like to follow eating disorder pages, and I got really like connected with like people that were really into like the pro-eating disorders, and there'd always be like group chats of like how to lose weight and encouraging each other to like lose weight and not eat, and like food is the enemy, and it got so bad and terrible, and I was totally in it. Like I was not even in control anymore, and my eating disorder was mainly about control, and then I lost complete control. And then finally, I told my mom about my eating disorder, and things started to get better. I don't really know how. This is kind of a blur. I started to eat healthy, and I was super into eating healthy and working out. But then this thing about being healthy, I was reading a lot of health magazines and watching a lot of like health people on YouTube, and that got to be a little bit of an obsession, and I restricted calories like these people were telling me, and not eating this, this, and this, and totally excluding foods, and I wasn't becoming healthy for the right reasons. I still was telling myself, okay, I'm 105 pounds, I still need to lose weight. And I'm 5'3", and I was 105 pounds, so that was actually like, I think that's still underweight, but I'm not sure. And it got to be an obsession. And then, like most of you know, this summer I wasn't really uploading because I went to go live with my uncle, and my eating disorder was actually like kind of like fizzled out, and I was like happy with my body, and I wasn't like, as soon as I started to live with my uncle, he ate like all organically, and for some reason, with not having the idea of like, I don't know how to explain it. I got better through meditation and yoga. I never ever went to like an eating disorder clinic, or never had a therapist, except if you count my school counselor. I kind of learned to love my body by myself, and now I'm totally fine, and everyone has those days where they don't like their body. I mean, I still have them, but I do not restrict calories or food anymore. I love food, and I think being appreciative of my food is amazing, and I don't even know how much I weigh. I think the last time I weighed myself, I was 110 pounds, and I totally don't go on the scale anymore because it kind of triggers me. I'm like, ugh. But now I'm at a point where in my life, like in this present moment, I am happy with how I look. And I have a weird route of how I got over my eating disorder. I kind of didn't go to therapy or didn't do the clinic. I got better through like meditation and just telling myself I loved myself, and I got better on my own. I was so stuck, and I was like drowning in quicksand, and I pulled myself out, and I'm really proud of myself, and I'm proud of the person who I've become today, and my body is beautiful. Every body is beautiful, and I'm happy that I get to share my story. I did go into some details, but honestly, my eating disorder is kind of a blur, because it's like almost as I see it, or how I see it, is that this spirit was like around me, this eating disorder spirit, and she took control of my body, and that's why when I think back to it, like, it's kind of a blur of how everything happened. So yeah, that is my eating disorder story, and if any of you guys have an eating disorder, I encourage you to seek help, and that doesn't mean through therapy. Just seeking help and speaking about it to your friends and to your parents or anybody you feel comfortable with. And if anybody is going through an eating disorder, you can always contact Nia or I. I love to help people, and I don't want anyone to have to go through that. And if any of you need someone to talk to, then we are definitely here.